feeling the weight of the city, longing for a moment of profound calm just for you or with someone else, someone special? At Somatic Massage Therapy and Spa, your urban sanctuary right here in New York, nestled on the border of Queens and Nassau County in beautiful Floral Park, we invite you to melt away the stress. Imagine this: 60 or 90 minutes of pure therapeutic bliss. Picture warm, smooth, hot stones gliding over your tired muscles, easing every knot, feeling the comforting embrace of hot towels, melting away tension. This isn't just a massage, it's an escape, a reset for your mind and your body. First-time guests experience our 15-minute introductory therapeutic massage session for just $89, a $125 value. For couples, reconnect and unwind side by side, sharing an unforgettable journey to tranquility. Somatic Massage Therapy and Spa, your New York haven is waiting. Visit us at 113 Jericho Turnpike in Floral Park. Book your escape now. Call 516-686-9557. Text 516-447-4373. Or find us online at somaticmassagepc.com. That's somaticmassagepc.com. somaticmassagepc.com. Ask about our flexible memberships. No contractual, cancel anytime for continuous well-being. Or give the gift of relaxation with the Somatic gift card. Your moment of peace is just a click away. Why are my SEO efforts not working? It's about to be a very interesting room today. If you're listening to this, please save this room so that you don't miss out. Because if you miss out on anything in this room, it's on you. I'm putting the ball in your court. So now you got to shoot. You got to hoop. You got to give me that 3-pointer. You got to touchdown. You got to give me that home base, that home run. It's up to you. You got to score that goal. Because if you don't, then it's going to be on you. So I really want you to turn this into this. And how that's going to happen is based on how you're going to decide what you want to do after listening to this. I've been running rooms, I would say on a daily basis this week, because this is the 3rd out of 52 episodes that I'm going to drop about SEO. Like, these are questions people are asking everywhere on the internet. And I'm like, you know what? Let me actually show up for these results so that when you see the answers to these results, you don't have a question to question anything, because you can see the results and you can do it yourself too. So when you think about SEO efforts, right? Efforts is something that happens consistently. And that's something that happens with a strategy. You can't just be repeating the same efforts every time and expecting a different result. That's insanity, expecting a different result doing the same thing. So when you're thinking about why are my SEO efforts not working, the first question you should think about is, why am I not showing up for this term, for this term, for this term? The reason is because it's very simple. You haven't activated that link. It's not a hyperlink. Let me say it this way. If I say good morning and you say good morning back, that response you give me is going to tell me whether you actually have a good morning or not. You can say good morning or good morning or good morning. If someone's like, are you okay? Are you good? So it's like, there's going to be a lot of friction, tension, reaction. There's going to be a lot of responses in the room. And when you are answering those questions as a business owner, you have to be calm. You have to be professional. You have to respond in a way that if somebody hears your answer would make more sense than the other person because you took your time to answer that question. Now, the reason why your SEO effort may not be working is because you've probably not answered that question correctly and also put it in a position that can be seen. So when you say good morning and somebody says good morning back, the next thing is, how was your night? What did you do? Did you dream? What are you doing today? What's your next goal? Are you excited about today? You start creating the mood. You start creating the expression, right? And then you're leading them to destinations. Now, that destination link I'm talking about now is where if I say, good morning, here's a coffee coupon for your breakfast today, and you've read that text, in your mind at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever time zone you're in, you're thinking about that coffee you had yesterday around the same time. So what are you going to do? You're going to go online or go back to your receipts or go to your history and look for the same thing, or just drive there if you're going there, because that's an effort you're making to make that happen, because it's not going to work if you don't work for it, right? It's not going to work by itself. So when you're creating content in 2025, the goal is to answer this question. What can I answer online that people are frequently asking? And how can I be the person of interest that people care about as an answer? So how you're able to answer that is when your SEO becomes a conversation, because SEO is really conversation. I mean, it's SEO technically, if we were going to throw all this jargon out the roof or out the door, and we just talk about having conversations, that's SEO. Because if I ask, what time is it, which is the most searched question of 2024, last year, the most searched question on the web was, what time is it? That's a question. So if you're getting answers to questions, then it means that you're the respondent to the answer of the question being asked. So how you answer those questions now is where the links come in. Either you have a podcast episode or you have a blog. Those are usually the fastest ways to do it. A podcast episode or a blog. If you spend anywhere from 10 minutes to 10 hours a week, you can definitely do that. And it's something that you can definitely do if you decide to do it on your own or decide to do it with someone. And I'll show you how this is going to be done today. So welcome, Stephen, Candice, Charmin, Frank, Christy, Longita, and Empress. It's good to see you here. It's been a while. Welcome back. Iris and Michelle too. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions today about any topic or subtopic you hear in today's discussion, please put it in the chat. I would love to connect. And Stephen says, haha, that was nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really want you to see the goal today and see how you can improve your efforts when you're marketing. And from a personal perspective, it doesn't even have to be from a business perspective. It's from you asking the right questions. Because if you don't ask the right questions, you might be surprised with the answers you get, which is not what you intended to receive. So when you're looking at SEO efforts starts off with research, just like you have a business. If you have a business today, at some point in your business cycle, journey, process, you decided the name of this business, you decided the mission, the vision, the core values, the policies, the procedures, the business operations, your business marketing, financial plan, your longevity plan, your exit plan, your merging plan, your partnership plan. You know everything about your business because you created it. So because you created that business or you created that brand, now the brand has to speak for itself. And how it's going to speak for itself is by creating information that people can understand in the same setting, in the same industry, in the same category, in the same search bracket. So if I'm looking for best cakes to eat, then that's going to tell me, okay, the best cakes to eat are this and this and this. I was just looking at a client's website today, and they're in Georgia. They sell amazing cakes in Roswell. It's called I Can Eat a Cake. It's really nice. I Can, ITA cake. But it sounds like I Can Eat a Cake, the way it says. And it's pronounced with the phonetics. And when they came to me, shout out to them. Amazing. You guys should check them out if you love sweet, if you have a sweet tooth. They came to me and they told me that they had a problem that someone walked into their store and told them that they lived about 2 miles away, but they couldn't find them on Google. That was a problem. That was a big signal for him to reach out, and it's like something is going on. And we met not even because of that. We met for another reason. So God just put us together in a way that I don't even know how we even met. And we just connected, and he was like, what? This is what you do? Oh, because the first time we met, he was like, I don't know if this guy is really, I don't know if this guy is for real. And after that one call, he was like, okay, yeah, I get it. And from there, we've built a really good relationship. And he was like, okay, here's the website, this is the first try. Let's go and see what happens. So I did some research, and I realized that people, when they're looking for bakery foods or sweet foods or foods that are with a lot of sweetness in it, they type the word yum in it, which was very surprising. And you may not type it yourself, but the people who really are hardcore fans, they type the word yum, which was very interesting to me. And that word has a lot of value, because the word yum is, when you hear yum, you know that, okay, that's referring to something tasty, delicious. So that's a product, that's a brand. So there's some things that you can go with that. And the efforts that we made, I'm just giving you some context for the room so that you can also try it yourself if you have something like this, is we decided, okay, what are the top cakes out there, and what are they doing? Are they active? Are they doing anything? If they're not doing anything, how can they get better at what they're doing by creating more content? And I said, okay, let me figure out a way to get more of their audience to respond back to them. So one of the efforts was we had to change the title from just being home cakes to now actually positioning it based on your location. So why am I giving this example? If you're a local business, regional business, national business, international business, because I know a lot of people are listening across the world. If you're listening to this and you have a business, you know the name of your business, and you're able to use your business as a business operating tool to help you scale and reach out to communities that allow people to search and find you through content, then your goal should be to focus on localizing your content first. Meaning that if you live in CDA and none of your pages on your website have CDA and listed in form of a title or a link or a podcast or something that says the words city, state in your sentence or in your copy or in your title or even in your script, then that's going to be a missed opportunity for you. So think about it that way, and that will give you a huge difference over time. So if anyone has any question, now is the time, because I really wanted to talk about this today. Does anyone have any question? You can raise your hand, you can put it in the chat, because go over it and say, oh yeah, I should have asked this question. Please don't. Every question is valid. Hey, Empress, long time. Welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Glad to have you here. What are you seeing now, and what are you thinking?
So when it comes to SEO, I know some things. I wouldn't call myself an expert like you. When it comes to doing blog posts, is there, in terms of frequency, and I know there's always a question, well, how frequent or whatever, but let's say on average you're gonna post 3 times a month. Does it matter if you spread them out? Does it matter if you post them on the same day? Does it matter if you post 2 in a week and then 2 in another week? Does it have any impact on your SEO specifically?
Ooh, that's a great question. And I also see a question too, Iris, in the chat. I'll definitely come to that too. Okay, so this is good. Now, when you look at content, right, the longer the content is, the more coverage let me say it this way, the more coverage you have that will appeal to a much wider audience at a shorter time. So let's say if you say 3 times a month or 3 times a week, 3 times a week would be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example. 3 times a week would be maybe every other Monday, apart from one throughout the month. When you have that, I would do it actually. Yeah, I just have an idea that I can give you to make it easier to practicalize it and really, do the actionable step. If you want to try this listening, create a short, mid, and long form blog post. So start off with long and then end up with short. So if you start off with a long blog post, it means you're creating a pillar. It's like when you're building a house, before you put a roof, you have to create the pillar so that the roof can sustain on top of the pillar. So when you create a content pillar on a website, you're creating an actual link that's going to have a reading time of, let's say, 10 minutes. That means that article may have X number of characters that are more than your average number of article count or word count. And when you now use that whole page to talk about comparisons, statistics, infographics, videos, listicles, comparison charts, FAQs, you're just adding things in there to make sure that people are understanding it, even adding quotes, like mentions from you. So let's say you mention something in a podcast, you put it in form of a quote, and then you can reference that quote and say, oh, listen to episode 20 in minute 520. I talked about this. You're giving people exact pathways to results because you're actually giving them exact time markers that they can follow. But if you just tell people, hey, go listen to this, they don't have time to even listen in the first place. So for them to even listen to what you're saying would be harder because it's now limiting as opposed to letting them just flow. So when you create one long post, you're talking about everything there. Let's say social media marketing trends, and your social media marketing agency. When you do social media marketing trends in 2025, like right now, Instagram has a new feature. It's not everywhere yet, but Instagram now, if you look at your Instagram, your location can be turned on from Instagram. So people are telling you to turn it off. A lot of people in cybersecurity are saying that too. So check it out. I'm just giving you guys like little snippets of what's happening and what I'm seeing. So when you start seeing things like that, you're like, okay, let me talk about that on my blog. Let me talk about that on my podcast. Let me just mention that and let people know, because you are never aware. Now you're aware. Now that's an audience acquired because now they're interested in what else you want to say after that. So because they didn't know and you're able to give them that information, you've actually enabled a trust score because now you've told them exactly what they came for, and you also over delivered and you under promised because you're able to give them information that they can come back to because of that value. So when you give them that one blog post, let's say in the first week of the month, the second week of the month, you're giving them a mid post, which would be more like a case study. I can call it a middle of funnel post. And then the first one will be a top of funnel post, like an ultimate guide or a checklist or a frequently asked question list. Then the middle will be more specific. So if it's social media marketing trends, I can now say Instagram versus TikTok for business owners. Let's say you're helping businesses that are dealing with cosmetics. Should I use Instagram or should I use TikTok or should I even be on Amazon? Should I be on Pinterest? Where should I be? And you start creating this whole versus or commercial campaign organically. Now you're focusing on brands because these brands are things that people are looking for. And these are questions people are frequently asking. And then you can tag them right back to the long one and say, if you want more information like this, go back to the long one. Then you now do a short one, which could be like a newsletter base or maybe, a PSA or something that's going to give them a note to, refer back to the short and or the medium one and the long one. When you do something like that, that's a very strong SEO effort because what you've just done is you've compounded your interest to the power of 3, because now you have 3 web pages on your website that talk about the same thing, but in 3 different dimensions. Let's say you add a 4th one, so you can have 4 pillars. Now, when you have a long post, it's a pillar. When you have a short post or a medium post, it's a cluster because it's a cluster off the pillar. It's like you're taking a bite out of the cake and you're just taking a piece out of the pie. So when you do that and you're creating consistent content on your website, you're creating more relationships with more people that are interested in other things that are semantically connected to what you first talked about. then you don't have to say the same thing over and over again. Now, you were talking about something, Empress, when it's like, do I have to do more or less? Or if I do more, how much more should I do? Or how much less should I do? When you've covered those bases, you've created seeds. Because when you create keywords turn into seeds. So when you have keywords and you use those keywords, let's say social media marketing, now, because it's a keyword that I found that is of interest to me and my audience, or me and my community, then I've activated that keyword into a title. So if it's social media marketing trends, that's the title of my podcast now, or that's the title of my blog, exactly as it was written. Now, the seeds come from when you post it as a link. People are going to start searching online, social media trends for brands, social media trends for restaurants. Now, those seeds are coming off the keywords that you pronounced in form of a link. And now you're getting more. So for every blog that you publish, you're probably getting 10 to 50 new seeds, meaning that you're getting 10 to 50 new keywords. You get one of those two keywords, you create another one. It's like you plant a mango seed, you get a mango tree, and now you have more mangoes to plant more seeds. It's literally the same thing. But if you're able to think about your seasons, your high peak seasons, your low peak seasons as a business, then that's how you're able to know what to write about. Because right now we're in August. Very soon people are going to start talking about Halloween, and then Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then it's Valentine's, and then before you know it, we're going up and down again. So if you wrote anything, or if you had a podcast in March this year, then by March next year, you'll be talking about kind of the same thing. If it was Black Friday last year and you tried something, you're probably going to try something different this year, because you've been able to understand your audience and you have a closer relationship with them now than you did before. So if your relationship is growing with your audience and you're creating it through content, then it's going to be easier for you to have a much faster effort, because you also don't want to keep doing it over and over again. So if you did this today and you created this post today, by next year, around the same time, you don't have to write the same article. You just have to go back and edit the article and update it to something that is more of a 2025 version. If this was now for next year, God willing, you now say 2026, August, what's today's date? 7th. So August 7th, 2026, you're updating the article from August 7th, 2025. And then when you update that, that's a big sign, because when you do something called last mod, the last modified page is the most recent page that AI picks up from the internet. So if you don't have a recent page, then the AI is not going to pick yours. And the only reason they'll pick yours over another is possibly because there's no other competition, or there's no other mention that can overwrite your own position. So it's kind of like a catch-22. But the long and short of this is, the more content you go deeper in, the less you have to say in the future. Does that help, Empress?
Yeah, I think you gave me way more information than I asked for, so thank you. You went off on some tangents there that were also very helpful. I like the idea of having them all kind of connected to one another, and spreading out the thoughts and ideas. And I honestly didn't think of editing a blog post from like prior years, and I always just thought, oh yeah, that did well last year, so I'll repost like same topic, but I'll change it up a bit. But that's a, why not just edit that one? Why keep that one as is? That's a great point. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's definitely a great tactic to use, because for every new blog you publish, at least update one or two at the very least. Because what you're doing is that you have 3 new last mods, meaning that you have a new link and you have 2 old links that now have updated tags. So now you have 3 instead of 1. So imagine doing that 1 times 3, and then 2 times 3, and then 3 times 3. Before you know it, you've updated so many things that if somebody looks at your report or looks at your last mod and everything is back to back, there's no way you're not going to be ranking online, because you have activity. It's like your lights are always on. So it's a really good way to think about it tactically, and then your SEO efforts would get better, because for every blog that you're publishing, you're linking it to the old one. You go to the old one, you link it to the new one. You keep doing that every now and then for every article that you publish. Eventually, everything turns into a spider web, and now you have a fully operating business that can give you that longevity over time. So that was a great question, Empress. Thank you for that. Iris also has a question too. How crucial are tools like Semrush, here we go, and Ahrefs for a comprehensive hyper-local SEO strategy? So this is it's amazing that you asked this question, because that's the same thing we did with this bakery, where we use Semrush, because you can use Semrush or Ahrefs. They're really good tools, but it also depends on how much you want to spend on these tools. That's why sometimes I say it's better for you to pay a professional or invest in an agency or someone that's going to handle it, or a team that's going to handle it, and they already have these marketing tools or marketing stack that you don't have to pay subscriptions for, so that you can just focus on the admin roles, focus on what's bringing money to the company, and focusing on your ROI expansion program, if I can put it like that, so that you can really focus on building it quarter over quarter, as opposed to just doing it on your own. But if you do it on your own, that's great too. But here's the thing, if you find out that you can do it on your own from start to finish, then please, that would be great, because that's a win for everybody. You can do it, you learn more, you gain more, you earn more. So it's a win for you 100%. But if you're not aware of what's going to happen after the fact or after the first step, then don't spend that money, or don't invest in that time trying to get that figured out, when you could have spent somebody else's time by paying them to do that, so that you can make more of your time and make more money back over time. So it's a good thing to use. Like for what we did, we took the company and we put it into the local SEO map for Semrush, and we're like, okay, are they showing up anywhere? Because there's something called name, address, phone number. If your name, address, phone number are not matching across each of the social channels or each of the directories, it's going to be a problem. Just like with credit, if you have different things going on, it's going to be, I treat them the same way, because it's intellectual property, right? So if you have a website and your website is saying https://www.yourdomain.com on Facebook, and then on LinkedIn it says http://yourdomain.com, then somewhere else it says https://yourdomain.com, it's going to look confusing, because that address there are some missing things. Just like if you miss a letter, a typo, alphanumeric character, it's going to change the context of what you're trying to convey. So what I'm trying to say is, when you use something like Semrush, you're going to see all the correspondent, there are about 46 to 50 of them, that will tell you how many of these addresses, whether it's Yellow Pages, whether it's BBB, whether it's Brown Book, whether it's Foursquare, whether it's Yelp, whether it's Google, Bing. If you have a local brick and mortar location and you operate as a business from an actual location physically, then when you don't have the corresponding name, address, phone number across all directories, that's going to raise a red flag for Google search, for SEO, for ranking, because Google does not know you. Google thinks you have 5 addresses instead of 1. Yet you have one, but you submitted the wrong ones, or you submitted different ones. Maybe it was by default, or you just didn't know. But now you know. So when you create these tools and you're using Semrush, it will help you identify it, but it's not going to help you solve it. What's going to help you solve it is a skill set. I was talking about this earlier today in another room on Clubhouse. In business, there's a gym. And in this gym, you have to go through 3 sets. And the more reps you do, the better you get. The first set is your mindset. The second set is your skill set. The third set is your tool set. If you're not doing reps consistently on these 3 sets as a business on a daily basis, you know how you've heard a millionaire or billionaire has given you this, what do you call it? What do they say? I'm going to paraphrase it. They say, choose 3 things to do that are most important to you in the day, and you've accomplished at least 80% of your day's tasks. at least 3, and it's primary. Like, I gotta send this email, I gotta mail this, I gotta stamp this, I gotta do this, I gotta drive. If you don't do those things, your day is not accomplished. You feel like, oh, I'm going to sleep unaccomplished, and that's not a good feeling. You want to feel accomplished. You want to feel like, yeah, let's do it again, because now you feel pumped because you actually did it. So you feel good because of what you're putting into the world, not what you're getting. You're getting something from what you gave. You know, God gave us, that's why we have. If he didn't give, we wouldn't be having what we have today. So when you think about every single thing, every single element, it's like water. It comes in 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. They're in different forms. So when you're using these tools, I'm just giving you some different analogies here so that when you come back to the center of the conversation and ask yourself, what are my SEO efforts really looking like? Why are my SEO efforts not working? They're not working because I'm probably not doing the right thing. And what is the right thing? To show up consistently with the same name. The same name. When you have a podcast, you show up with the same name. When you write an article, it's the author's name. When you write a book, it's the name of the book of the author, which is the name of the person who published the book. If you're a songwriter, if you're a producer, if you're an artist, if you're a celebrity, if you're an athlete, whatever you are, whoever you are, the reason why you keep showing up and people keep recognizing you is because you keep showing up with the same name. So when SEO is done wrong, and we hear, oh, is SEO dead? Does SEO exist? Do we need SEO? Every time someone says that, SEO proves them wrong again. Because SEO without AI, I don't think there'll be AI at all. I'm guaranteeing you that. Without SEO, AI will be scrambling for information because AI loves structure, right? Algorithms love structure. Language loves structure. That's why it's called a large language model. Language has structure. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. That's structure, right? Other countries, other languages have different numbers or different characters. That's structure, right? It's a 2-bedroom house. That's structure. Okay, 2 teaspoons of sugar. That's structure. So it's not far from the reality. That's why I like to break this thing down to just like ABC models, because SEO sounds like it's so perplexed or far-fetched that you just feel appalled. You just feel like, nah, I just stall and do this and keep that status quo. No, you want to grow and you want to use these tools. So use these tools at your discretion, create the things that you need, but you don't need to pay these tools to actually get those results. So for you now, Iris, when you have this question about hyperlocal SEO strategy, you don't need to use the Semrush. You can use it, get your analysis, but if you want to start from scratch, you know how they say Google is your best friend? Google is your best friend. And I'm going to give you a hack today and try this out. If you've tried it out, put a yes in the chat. If you've never tried it out, put a no in the chat. So let me give you this scenario. And let's actually role play this. So Iris, put in the chat because I want to give you a real example with a real solution so that you can just see it as a case example. What keywords would you be looking for locally or comprehensively that you would need these tools for? Just tell me the 2 or 3 words your business does and what you want to show up for so that I can now put that in and give you some context with this. So I'll be waiting in the chat. But as we wait, Empress, does anything come to mind, or do you see it a little differently from how it was before you came into the room?
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
sorry,
say
you're
one
breaking.
with tools like Semrush, you need to be in it. Oh, sorry, I'm in cottage country driving,
Oh,
so
no
I'll
worries. I
just
think
be
you're
quiet for
good
now.
now. Just try it again because you're about to say something really good. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Um, you've got to know how to use it and be dedicated to using it frequently. Otherwise, better off just hiring a professional who's already got the tools and knows how to use them, rather than necessarily trying to figure it out yourself. That being said, if you are committed to it or you are working in the industry, I've always liked Semrush. But I'm also a princess and work for big corporations, so we have budget isn't as much of an issue when it comes to stuff like that. So I know for smaller businesses, sometimes you might find a tool that works for your needs that may necessarily not cost as much. That being said, Google has a lot of great tools, like Google Search Console is what I assume we're going to, or even just frequently asked, like Google's frequently asked questions section and stealing info from there. But anyway, I'll let you guys continue because I think you got your answer.
Thank you, Empress. I love that. Yes, Google Search Console and finding the right search phrases are very important to get those things out. And you don't have to spend that money to get that because it's already available within the search brackets. So it's just how to put it out. So thank you for that feedback. Now, I'm glad that Iris has put this in the chat. Denver Metro whole bean single origin coffee roasters. Okay, so let me get this straight. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Let's talk about this because I really want to make sure that I'm getting the right information. If you're available to speak, please come up. If you're not, I know it's in the evening, so I also understand, and just let me know in the chat. But if I'm getting this correctly, you want to show up with your website, because without your website, this cannot happen. You want to show up with your website locally in Denver, within the metro area, for people who are looking for the best coffee roasters in town that are whole bean or single origin. Is that it? Is it product based like that, based on finding them in the markets or finding them online or where to get them? I need more context. Okay. All right. So perfect. So here's going to be a hack, and I'm going to put this in the chat so that you can actually try this out yourself. So you're going to do blog slash, right? Coffee roasters whole bean. We're going to do this exercise together. All right. So I'll put this in the chat. And let me know, Iris, have you ever searched like this on Google before? Just put a yes or a no. Let me know, because I want us to have a deep dive into this so that when I go there, I'm about to jump into Google. But before I do, I want to know if this is something that has been done before. And also, if you have in the chat or if you have in the room, please let me know and how you've used it. No, not with those search operators. Right. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to make sure if it's the first time, I want to make sure I take it slow so that you can do it as well. Try it out and do it for yourself, because this is free information that you can get on Google, which is already available. I just want to extend it to you. Thank you, Empress. I just want to extend it to you so that you can try it out for yourself. So let's all go to google.com. If you're here listening, go to google.com, type in google.com, right? Now we're on the website. You're going to see a search bar there, right? When you see the search bar, you can type in what I just wrote or paste it. So before you even hit enter, I want us to really look at this search operator, because it's an operating system for a reason. When you look at the word blog slash coffee roasters whole bean, right? I'm getting 5 results. You might get 5 too. You might get different 5 results, or you might get the same 5, depending on where you are in the world, right? Because Google has different search engines. There's .com, there's .co.uk, there's .ng.ke, .za, .in.kr. It just keeps going on and on and on. So .br. So you have to also realize that you're not just writing for .com, you're writing for a world wide web network. So you're going to see bean coffee. I see beans, bean coffee beans, and I see whole bean roasted coffee, and then I see coffee roasters whole beans. Now, what I noticed is that if you look at, before you even hit enter or go or search or return, whether using a Mac or Windows, you'll see that these 5 results or search results you're already getting before you actually see the results, because these are auto responders, right? These are auto suggestions that you're getting. if you notice, one of them is a full sentence or really a full keyword that makes the most sense. It says whole bean roasted coffee. Now I'm going to hit enter. So just keep that in mind, whole bean roasted coffee, because I typed in coffee roasters whole bean. I'm doing this for the first time with you. So what do we get? Because we're going to search this together. What I see is a list of articles on Google search that tell me all the blogs that Google suggests to people at any capacity based on coffee roasters whole bean. So the first thing I see is Coffee Bros, right? Shout out to coffeebros.com. They show up for the 51 best specialty coffee roasters and brands in 2025. So what did I talk about earlier when Empress, you talked about how much should I write? This is an article that has 51 specialty coffee roasters. That's a lot of time. That's a full list. And I've clicked on the link to see all the brands, and they have their top 15. They have them there. Some are sold out. Some of them are still there, but I've scrolled all the way down. They have up to 50. So, and then actually they give you more than you asked for. They give you 51. So that whole promising and delivering thing is a big thing when it comes to connecting with people, getting insights, and also helping out. So they said 50, right? They said 51. They gave you 51. And now in there, I came back to Google and it says people also search for. This is a beautiful thing to see. People also search for 25 best coffee roasters in America, top 10 roasters in the world, top 10 coffee brands, Onyx Coffee, top 10 coffee brands in USA, best coffee roaster machine. Now, if I was doing SEO for a company that was dealing with coffee and they needed to get this done, what I'm looking at is at least 5 new articles that have compounded from one. So remember I talked about keywords and seeds? Now, these seeds are the top 10, the top 25. These are the ones that are coming off this one article. So I've created one article that has seeded 5 new keywords. Now, these 5 new keywords are going to be 5 new articles independently that are going to simultaneously connect with this one article. Now you have 6 articles. So to answer your question, Iris, if you want to use the internet like this with this block slash, then that operator is going to tell you what articles to write, because this is SEO efforts. This is like an actual thing. Effort means that you actually have to try it. If you're listening to this and you're not trying it, then there's no effort you're making. You're making the effort to listen, but you're not making the effort to have a full cycle of the experience that you're getting from this message. So if you haven't tried this before, try it out. I've tried it myself, and that's how I know. If I didn't try it, there's no way I can tell you what I'm telling you, because I'll be speaking from a soapbox that really is not making any sense and nobody would want to listen. And I don't want that for you. So I'd rather speak on something I know than something I don't know. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. I don't know some things. And I mean, we are all geniuses. We know what we know. So that's why we're able to help each other grow, because I can't know everything and I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. So when you create these content pieces and you're using something like I've just shown you with coffee, it just changes your perspective. Now you have an SEO effort to actually create content that works. Because the question is, why are my SEO efforts not working? The reason why it's not working is that when you look at the link on the top 3, if you're not part of that result, then that's where your competition is. And that's who your competition is from a realistic one-on-one standpoint. So as a business owner, your goal is to find out what blogs are out there that are people looking for, that are actually finding, that I could also give my input and also give you my idea. When I do that, eventually I'm going to feel like I now have an understanding of what this person is looking for. So if I talk about the best coffee makers, the best toasters, the best roasters, I'm literally designing a whole kitchen. Now I'm painting the wall. Before you know it, you've created a whole business just because of one product. So I don't want it to just go over and just say, okay, coffee, great. But if you're able to commercialize your brand and talk about the best, the top, the most, the the variables. Those things will help your business grow, because if you're looking for something that you already know, it's going to be the alternative. Like, for example, Indomie. I love that your profile picture is Indomie, right? I love Indomie, right? And if I had an Indomie brand like that or an alternative, I'm going to write about Indomie like brands, the top 10 Indomie like brands that would give you the same sweetness or the same savoriness or with the same connections that you have with the first experience. So when you commercialize your brand, I'm giving you so many examples that when you take your business and say, okay, I sell coffee, I sell cake, I sell shoes, I sell coaching, I sell fill in the blank. What is out there that is in the form of a blog that is showing up for the results that I want to show up for too? And if I can't show up for that result, then what can I do to get that result going? I'll need to create a page like that. Because when you create a page like that, and then you go ask ChatGPT, what are the best coffee roasters to make? Or in the US, your article shows up as a mention. That's how you show up on the search internet web. But if you don't show up, it's because you don't have anything to show for or show with. That's why it's heavy to go into research and focus on that heavily so that it can also help you too. So that's something that can definitely give you connections, and or not is what Empress said too. Could you tell people how they can use that? Because I love those search operators because it gives you more context. So let's dive in for those who are trying it for the first time.
Yeah, so I like to use those more for like gaining knowledge of what else is in the market. And those are, I guess, some basic Boolean search terms that you can use to try to narrow in your content or like what you're trying to attract. I know when so for example, if you put something in quotations when you're searching something on Google, what you're telling Google is it has to contain this word in it. Otherwise, I don't want to see the content. If you're saying not, basically you're telling Google, hey, exclude anything that's about this. So like, let's say you're looking for, I don't know, you want information about, I don't know, I'm gonna say like,
Oh, I think we lost you, Empress. Are you there?
along those lines, so that you're being very specific with Google about what you want included or what you don't want included. If you say and or, it can be like these words can be used interchangeably. Yeah, so it's really like being able to narrow in on the content that you're searching for. If you want to learn more about that, look up Boolean logic. I'm going to put it in the chat how you spell that. And basically it's how Google searches and determines what results it shows you. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I've got to go quickly, but Iris, I don't know if you do CPG or you're selling, or if you're like a coffee shop. If it's CPG, I have a recommendation, but I do have to go. I would recommend looking into, I know a big search term is like when people are looking for like what beans to use with certain machines. So if they have like a Breville something, they'll find out what beans are best to use with it. So that might be a way you might want to approach that as well, looking at from the consumer lens of like who's buying these beans, what else is related to them. But I've got to go, so enjoy your time today, everyone, and thanks, Favour.
Thanks, Empress. Good to have you back. And this is helpful. And Aris, I hope this helped you out. And for those who want to know what Boolean stands for or what it spells like, because some people don't want to read it, it's boo, like BOO, and then lean. So that's how if you want to just think about the word LEAN, so Boolean, that way you can really see it and, grow from there as a business. So thank you for that. Yes, Boolean is Bay, Austin, Yes, 100%. And Boolean truly 10x's LinkedIn search. Yeah, it does. It really does. It really does. I feel like this is like going back in time. Austin, if you're available, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because it gives me Bodmas vibes. You know, brackets. Or you think of, when you think about all these things of, of division, multiplication, and subtraction. Back in the day, I mean, it's still a metric that you still use till today. But when you start thinking about these words and how basic they sound, but how fundamental they are, it's everything. So your efforts need to be valued, or let me say it this way, they need to be valued at a position that if you look at yourself 28 days from now and you spent 7 days per week, or at least 5 out of the 7, and that's about 20 days in the month, and you've tried this for at least 1 to 10 minutes a day, come back and tell me it didn't work, and we're going to see what actually happens, because I don't know one person that has tried this and it hasn't worked for them, especially if you do it correctly, because the correction is in learning, right? When you learn from correction, right? When you're corrected, you're able to know, okay, maybe I should do it like this. Like if I stand corrected, then you're correcting me because I may have not done it correctly. It's just the same thing. Is if you're able to understand the logic and the proof of concept, then you can learn it and teach it to someone else, right? When you're listening to a podcast, when you're listening to a show, when you're listening to something, that's about 5% acquisition, right? But if you can teach someone the same thing that you learned, that you are aware of, that's about 90% of learning acquisition that you have. So if you look at the scale between 5% to 90%, that 85% margin is based on how intentional you want to be to scale that intentionality to get to the right result you're looking for. So SEO efforts are not hard. It just depends on how you want to do it. Either you pay with your time or you pay with money. It's either or. What is currency to you? What is valuable to you? What is a priority to you? It's available. If you're going to get to know more about that and you need digital marketing services or SEO services or AI services, start here by clicking the link above and give us your first name and best email, and then you'll be redirected to a calendar where you can now schedule a call at your earliest convenience, and we can talk about it at your time so that you're ready when you want to start. Because it's all about how you want to build your business, whether it's from a Shopify store or a Wix store or a WordPress store, or which is WooCommerce. Any platform you're using online, whether you want to create a website or maintain it, it starts off with now. What are the efforts you're creating now? And we're going to help you get that done. Iris says, I'm a commerce writer, copywriter for hyper-local and national brands marketing agencies. That is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. It's a big deal. And one thing, like even Austin said too with LinkedIn, is when you have this type of conversations, it's helping other businesses to do things better, because we're all doing this thing together. I'm not above anybody at all. Only God is above us. I'm not above anybody, right? I'm just showing you what I know and what I've seen so that you can see what I've not probably experienced in a while, or I've experienced, so that you can not experience the same thing. It's kind of like learning from the lessons that you've been told. So if you're told stories and those stories have lessons, then those moral lessons allow you to have a better approach at life. If you're told, hey, don't respect your elders, or when they say, oh, don't say hi to strangers, whatever you're hearing, whether it's negative or positive, there's going to be a reaction to what you're hearing. So your goal should be technically created to make sure that you're helping other businesses see their efforts, right? When you think about efforts, it means that, did I do enough? Did I try enough? Did I work enough? Did I sleep enough? Did I eat enough? Did I work out enough? There's always going to be that enough. Am I enough? Right? But if you're able to do those 3 things per day and say, okay, check, anything else in that day is a bonus. It's supplementary. It's complementary. It's something you can just enjoy. But at the same time, if you're able to create this intentionality and help yourself see that if you just decide to focus on this county, this zip code, this district, this city, this state, this country, you'll be so much further ahead. It will help you. Today, just to give you like an amazing win that happened today, I was on LinkedIn and I got a message from a business owner, and he booked a podcast. Literally, I sent him the link and he booked right away within, I would say, less than half an hour of sending that message. I was like, oh, this is serious. He sent me a message on Thursday. What's today's date? Today is Thursday, last Thursday. It's been about a week or so. And I'm like, okay, I didn't see it because I'm always, checking in, checking out. But at the same time, I want to make sure I'm checking in at the right time. So I saw this and I felt like, yeah, let me check my LinkedIn messages. And I see this message. And he sent me a message the first time. Then he sends me a GIF. Like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. It's not a bot. It's not automation. This is a real conversation someone's trying to have. And what does he tell me? I was actually surprised because I don't get this all the time. And when I hear this, I always like to mention it because these are things that I cherish and I love it, because when I hear stories like this or when I hear things like this, it makes me do more for people. He said, "Hi, Favour. I hope you're doing well." He told me who he is. And he says, "I'm reaching out as a fan of your podcast. We don't play. I've left 5-star reviews on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts because your episodes consistently deliver actionable SEO strategies and AI-driven insights that help businesses optimize their online presence and grow their market share." When I saw that, I was like, wow. I had to pause for a second because he's kept writing. He has more things he said. And I was like, wow, this is humbling. I don't know who this person is. We've never met before. We never met from Adam. I don't know him from Adam. But we connected because what I said made sense to him. And there are other people who have seen on LinkedIn or Clubhouse or email that will reach out and say these things. Companies will reach out. Companies would like my post on LinkedIn. Profiles would like it. And I'm like, okay, I see what people need. Because when you give someone what they need and you give them more of what they're asking for, then there's a trust. It's like taking a nail or a thorn off of an elephant's foot. The elephant will never forget because the elephant has the most, the highest memory possible animal-wise, right? They have a strong memory. They have a long-term memory. So the elephant is not going to forget you if you did that one deed, that one act, right, to help the elephant get out of that discomfort, right? Why am I giving this crazy analogy? It's because when you help the person that comes to you and says, hey, I need your help, and you actually help them, they will feel valued and appreciated because you actually gave them your time. Because everybody has time to do what they want, right? But if you give them your time, which is also a love language, right? Quality time. If you're able to give that, that means you have that undivided attention that you're caring for this person, whether business, whether career, professional, personal. At the end of the day, the goal is to help somebody move over from this side to the other side. And that's what I love to do, because when I hear someone say, hey, we made some sales, or we did this, or someone found us on Google, or this happened and I don't have to run ads because this happened, I'm happy. Because I know now that money that you could have spent on an ad, now you can put that into the family. You can put that into groceries. You can put that into other assets. You can put it into stuff you can save. You can invest. You could probably spend it on something else other than what you could have spent it on because you already earned it, right? So when you think about the scalability of creating things, your goal is to make sure that you're able to get better at what you do consistently. Because if you do those 3 reps I talked about as a business, your mindset, your skill set, and your tool set, the more you're able to use your tools, the better you get with your skills. The better you get with your skills, the more connected you are with your mind. It's a body, mind, soul, spirit feeling. It's up to you to decide, how do you want to do it, right? So SEO efforts are not hard, but it starts off with how you want to start. There's going to be a room I'm going to talk about. I'll just say it now. There's going to be a room I'll be talking about. It's a versus room. I don't know whether I'll do it this week or next week, because today's Thursday, so I might do it next week. It's called, the title of this room that we're going to have is Ahrefs, right? Ahrefs versus, if you've never heard of this term before or this tool, check it out before you listen to this next episode. Ahrefs versus LLM refs. that's going to be a discussion we're going to have. It's technically saying traditional search versus AI search. It's going to be very intense. That's what I'm telling you now. Google it, check it out, see what it is. LLM refs, like referee, refs. LLMrefs.com. Check it out and see it for yourself. And that's how you're able to start noticing if you're even showing up for these search terms on AI. Because AI, I had somebody ask me this question earlier today on Chatter, right? Shout out to Chatter, shout out to Nelson, amazing app. When I got into a room, people were talking about, because right now, in case you didn't know this, by the way, just to let y'all know, if you use ChatGPT, earlier today, they released ChatGPT 5. You know how AI is so fast, you kind of like, oh, I didn't know that. I was today years old. Yeah, that happened today. ChatGPT 5 has been released. And I walked into a room, got in there, and they were asking me about, is SEO the same as AI? Is this going to take over AI, ChatGPT? And I was like, no. It's like comparing apples to oranges. You can compare Google to Bing. You can compare Google to YouTube. You can compare Google to, what else? Pinterest. You can compare Google to DuckDuckGo, to Yahoo, to Yandex, to Yext, to Yellow Pages, because these are directory pages. These are pages that have listings, right? Google is a listing website. If I really want to give you that honesty, welcome Bianca and David and Emmanuel, Christy, Claudia. Good to see you as well, Cindy. And Unique too, I see you too. Google is a listing website. If you really think about it, Google is a listing website. Like, I want to give you guys the real ABC today. Google.com is a listing website. You go to Google, you search for what you want, you get a listing. You either get a local pack, or you get reviews, or you get snippets, or you get questions, or you get links, or you get AI. You get shopping, you get images, you get everything. It's kind of like a candy store, but they're coming in form of links. They're coming in form of listings. So if your website is not listed, it's like back in the day, if you're not listed on the Yellow Pages, how are you going to be seen as a business? Or how are you going to be seen as an operating business that's within a directory that people operate for business? So it's the same thing, same difference. So if you're creating content and your SEO efforts are not responding back to the mentions you're seeing, there's a problem. Like this podcast, the We Don't Play podcast, if you ask ChatGPT, or if you go to DeepSeek, or if you go to even Pinterest, if you go to Spotify, if you go to Apple and you type in Pinterest SEO, the We Don't Play podcast show is going to show up there, because I've semantically connected this podcast, this episode, to always show up for anything that's related to SEO. Why? Because the number of times I say SEO, if you count the number of episodes times the number of times I say the word, it's going to compound. If I say SEO, that's one count. SEO, one count. SEO. So I've said it 3 times. Those are 3 counts. So the more counts, the more keywords, the more times, the more prompts, the more things you say that sound like sentences and not just stuffy sentences or stuffy keywords, then the more you're going to show up for these results, because you're actually putting them in form of a text bracket, in form of a text box. So when you look at Google and you say, am I on Google's listing? No. Okay, how do I get on Google's listing? I need to create a website. Okay, I have a website. What do I do? Is my website connected to Google? Yes, no. Yes, okay. Is it submitted to Google? Yes, no. The more you keep answering those yes, no conditional logics, you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, now I figured out what the problem is. Now I know what to do to solve this problem. It's like knowing what's wrong with your car or what's wrong with something that you're trying to fix. And you realize, okay, I got to do this, to get that, to get that. It's binary code. So if you're able to see that you're not ranking on Google for a certain keyword, like I showed you all today with the operating search term, blog/keyword, if you don't show up for those results, then it means that you need to write for those results. That's one way. So when you use LLM refs, right, you're using it to find prompts. You're using it to find keywords. You're using it to find mentions. Because when you type in a keyword you want to search for, rank for, it's going to give you those results. Like for me, I typed in best SEO Pinterest podcast. I show up on those results. I'm not the only one. There are other people there too. But what's going to determine your position and listing is how many times you show up for the same thing consistently. That's why I was saying before, your name is one of the most important things you have on this earth. Your name. A good name, it's even in the Bible, a good name is better than gold or silver, because a good name will get you places that money will not get you into. Relationships. Those things, I take relationships like gold, because if you burn one bridge, it might take you a long time to go around that block that you could have taken less or half the time because of that one mistake. So that's why I cherish this so much, and I tell you so many times that, hey, try this out, try this out, try this out. Because you may not try it out today, but the day you try it out and you're like, this tastes nice, this is delicious, okay, maybe why not? Because you didn't know. And it's not your fault, it's just, you just didn't know. But now you know, so now there's a reason to try it out if you like it. If you don't like it, then don't try it. No one's going to force you to buy anything that you don't want. If you want it, you love it, I like it, good. If you like it, I love it, okay. But at the end of the day, it's for you to decide, what do you want to see with this result? Don't just buy a tool because it's shiny. I'm telling you these platforms to use. Don't just go and purchase or plan because you need SEO or you need AI. That's going to be the wrong way of doing it, because if you start writing for the wrong things, you start spending money on the wrong things and spending the worst time, and you don't want to have that time. You want to have a good time for a long time, and that takes time, right? They say how fast money doesn't make no money, or the faster you get it, the faster it goes. That's the difference. Slow money is the best. When you think about all these big deals, contracts that are saying net 30, net 60, that's because there's a stretch, there's a pull, there's numbers, there's zeros. So it takes time, it takes processing. And we have to be patient sometimes. Actually, every time. Because if we don't have patience and we lack it, you could be one sentence, one word, one decision away from a wrong turn. And that will just cost everything. So just try it out. These are your SEO efforts that you could try. I'm trying them myself. That's why I'm telling you what I do. Because when I do these things and I show you, I'll come back tomorrow and tell you something else that I found out. It's like a Discovery Channel, right? You keep coming back for the same thing, but you get different results because you realize that, okay, there's something different here. Maybe there's something new here. And those are the things that you can start to do as a business that will get you to the next level, right? That's how you can start doing it long term. Now, I've done 3 episodes out of 52. I mentioned there are 52, and I thought about this one day and I said, I'll let you know this so that it doesn't catch you by surprise. On August 12th, right? That's a Tuesday. August 12th, Lord help me. On August 12th, right? I'm going to find some time. I don't know where I'm going to find that time on that day because there are meetings on that day. It's either going to be a night or day. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be at the top of the hour. I don't know. If I'll do it, I don't know. But I want to run a marathon because last year when we turned 5 years, I did a 5-hour podcast show. But I'm looking at my calendar next week and I don't even see 2 hours open. So it's going to be different because it's going to be 6 years, but I'll do it differently because every year is going to be different. And I only did that for the first time ever, so it's not like I want to do it all the time, but I'll make time to make sure that I do something very consistent. And what I'm thinking of is having a marathon of 6 questions back to back to back to back to back. And I'm answering them in a very meticulous way that when you get the responses to that, I don't have to go through that question again. Unless I'm updating or emphasizing or reinstating or referring, I don't have to say that again. So when I'm looking at the next topic that I want to bring to you is going to be, what's the fastest way? This is what a lot of people like. People like microwave results, but it's not going to be that fast. But there's a fast mode too if you really, bootstrap early. What's the fastest way to get indexed by Google? That's going to be the next topic because I've been doing question-based topics and I want to answer these questions so that these questions can be responded to. And they can seed more questions. Because you see how I talked about it today. I said, hey, do you have any question from this topic? The questions you asked me are seeds from this keyword. So I'm practicalizing. I'm literally telling you what I'm saying, what I'm doing. I'm practicing what I preach because I want you to do the same thing too. So when you do the same thing for yourself, at least you have a roadmap or a manual that tells you, okay, because this happened, if then clause, it gives you that connection. You're able to do those things too. So it's really important to think about that too. And Austin, you said something I want to highlight too. So Favour, thanks to your recommendation to use Trustpilot, I got my first free inbound lead. What? Based on my Trustpilot profile. Also, getting a decent percentage of my site visitors referred from there. That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations, Austin. Big moves. Big moves. Yes, Trustpilot is great. And it's for online reputation. And if someone can talk about you without you talking about yourself, that's a big win because you don't have to represent yourself. You know, when you're introducing somebody to the stage, they don't introduce themselves. Hey, my name is, unless you're Eminem. But if you're creating content, right, you want to be introduced by someone. You want to be a brand that is received because you're in a room that is perceived to have the same affinity, the same value, the same morals, the same code of conduct. So when you're using these platforms, use them sparingly, use them wisely, but also use them very wisely to the point where you can actually look back and say, yes, I did this for this reason or that reason. Because most of us have businesses that don't have an actual brick and mortar location. And if you don't have a brick and mortar location, your next question is, how do I get reviews when I don't have a Google business profile? So it's like every question you're having is giving you a different stumble block. For me, I love solutions. I love to give solutions. If you give me a problem, I will solve it. If I have to take 2 years, I will solve it. It's taken me 6 years to figure out something about podcasts. I will solve it because I love to solve problems because I know that somebody else is probably going to have this problem another day or someday. So let me solve it now so that if you stumble into this solution or you find yourself here, then I'm glad you're here because now you can solve something and move over so you can have more time back to yourself. Trustpilot is great for businesses that are service-based, right? We see Trustpilot when we think about hotels or restaurants or stuff like that. Yes, those are there for that reason, but it's also great to have them as a business. And you can't have a Trustpilot business account as a free user, even if you're doing it for free, because they have a paid option, but you don't even need the paid option. It's like LinkedIn. You don't need LinkedIn Premium unless you want it. Now, that's a want. It's not a need. So Trustpilot, you can have a free account, but here's a caveat. You need to have a work email, a professional email, an email that is a top-level domain that you purchased. So if it's going to be your website or my name is Favour at, like my email is Favour, Favour at playinc, PLAYINC.online. If you want to reach me directly, if you want to reach more of general, it's info@playinc.online. So that is a top-level domain that has access to a property, right? Just like your website has access to your property, just like you have a key that has access to your house. You have a key that has access to your car. If that key is missing, you can't walk in, you can't drive, you can't move, because that key, even though it's small, it's that one thing. It's like a needle. If you don't have that thing, it's going to be pinching you because you need to get it out. You need to let it out. So that's why when you think about these domains and you're using them for business, that's how you're going to get traffic. And Austin talked about it too. He got a percentage of his traffic from Trustpilot because people go to Trustpilot to look for reviews. And if they like what you do as a business, they'll reach out to you because you have a website. It still goes back to your website. So anywhere you go, even if you're in a maze, you will still have to land on a website. You might say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do email marketing. I'm going to do drop shipping. I'm going to do this or that. And social media. Yeah. You're still going to need a website because when you're looking for a grant, when you're looking for a business opportunity to connect with people, when you're on LinkedIn, when you're showing yourself online, when you're being connected to, when you have a business card, you're going to need that website at some point. So why not just start now? build it. So when you show up and you leave your house, you come back better than you left, because you left the house for a reason, to come back better, right? That's why we work. We go up, we come down, we do this, we do that, because we want to have a better tomorrow. So thank you so much, Austin, for that referral for Trustpilot. It's really good. And it's actually interesting you said that, because one of our clients asked me about Trustpilot today. And she asked me about it and said, hey, is this going to be something that we need or we can use? And I was like, yeah, definitely we can, because people don't know these things. So I'm not going to assume that you know the answer. So when people ask these questions, oh, can I do it like this? Every question is valid, because if I asked you a question I didn't know the answer to, you're going to answer the question so that you can help me get better. It's not so that you can be over me or superior to me. There's no trophy in that. So when you're creating content or giving people advice or giving them suggestions, just do it with a clean, genuine, authentic heart without looking for something in return. And guess what? A lot of things will happen in return because you gave authentically, but if your heart is just, choked up and you can't do it properly because you feel kind of way, you feel like, nah, it just sounds weird, because at this point, it doesn't even sound like English because you're so confused. But if you're able to just articulate, slow down, breathe, think, process, and then work it out, your SEO efforts will be so much better and so much further down the path that you'll actually be happy you started slow, because when you're able to understand what happens, it's better. Like driving. When you drive for the first time, you don't just hit the highway. You start from your neighborhood. You start from your driveway. You start from your community. You don't go outside because you don't want to have an accident, God forbid. So these are things that you have to do. Charity begins at home, right? So start with your home base. Start with what you have, right? Start with your links, with your articles. Answer those questions. Go to these platforms. Answer one question a week. Before you know it, you've answered 52 questions in a year, and you don't have to repeat that same question next year because you've done it. It's like insurance. You just keep doing it and do it and doing it and doing it and doing it. It's like it just keeps growing. So the day you actually need it, you can just pull it out and get it because you've been doing it. So it's really up to you at the end of the day. And I hope this helps you, because I don't want you to feel like this again. And if you feel better about this, that's a good thing. If you feel better about this, let me actually ask you, put a 1 in the chat if this room has helped you process something different, think a little differently outside the box, or try something new, or actually even see it from a new perspective. Please put a 1 in the chat. I would love to see your response, because feedback is the best currency, and I love to always see that, because I know it can take a lot of effort to even try to do some things that may not making sense, but eventually they do make sense when we try them. So let me know, put in the chat. I know we are on the go, we're on the move, but I'd love to hear from you too. So does anyone have any questions for me? Okay, I think we're clear. There's no point of beating down a dead horse. There's no point. If it's been answered, if it's been achieved, and sometimes no response is a response, So thank you, Drew. You see? You see what I'm talking about? Put a 1 in chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I hope this helps you and gives you more insight. We'll be back again, God willing, tomorrow, so that you can learn a few things about SEO, Google, AI, digital marketing, search, and having a much better business outlook so your business can thrive. If you need AI or SEO or digital marketing or anything that's just going to help your business grow, then reach out to me. Feel free to connect, or just listen to the podcast, the WeDon'tPlayPodcast.com, and get something different, learn something new. And I hope this helps you really get to the finish line faster than you thought you could, because you can do it. You just have to put your mind to it. You got to put the skills to it, and you got to have the tools, which you already have. If you have a mind, you have a tool, because your mind is a toolbox. It is somewhere that you operate daily. So if you don't use your full brain capacity, then you have a lot of space to make a lot of changes, because you have the capacity to do so. If the capacity is 80,000 people in the audience, that's because you can fit 80,000 people in the audience. So if you can't fit 80,000 people in the audience, because it's a less capacity. So we just have to think about these things and ask ourselves, where do we want to grow and how do we want to know these things at a much larger scale? Emmanuel says, Favour, thank you for the opportunity and space to showcase my talents. And this made me believe in myself so much. I appreciate you, Emmanuel. Yeah, Emmanuel is amazing. And he does amazingly well. And I appreciate you. Everybody here does something amazing. And it's just a matter of just being in the right place at the right time with the right people for the right thing. And I'm glad we talked about this today. So thank you, Stephen. Thank you for that question. Thank you for being here and, being part of today's discussion. Thank you, Longita. Thank you, Unique, Austin, Emmanuel, Christy, Claudia, Drew, Michelle, and Cindy. If you're here and you're listening to this for the first time, we are in the Marketing Club, and I hope you are learning something new and something that will give you a new perspective every day. So until then, we're going to meet tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow in the next episode. Have a good night. God bless you and take care for now. We out. Now, that was an episode, right? Thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I'm so glad that you're here and you are sticking tight with us, especially to the very end. Now, this is season 11 and we're going to do it differently. And I want to make sure that every episode you listen to has something to give back so that you can also learn more after you listen. Now, We Don't Play podcast show is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. So if you're in any of those positions out of those 4, please make sure that you reach out to me. Send out an email through info@playinc.online. That's info@playinc.online. Or you could go to playinc.online, which is a website, www.playinc.online, playinc.online, and schedule a call so that we can get you on an SEO discovery call to talk about your business and help you with your marketing needs. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this helped you. See you in the next episode. God bless you. Jesus loves you.